Hello and welcome to Meet the Producers, a Brunswick podcast powered by Brunswick Area Television. I'm Ben Staunton, and sitting next to me is a guy who I would say is Northeast Ohio's favorite retired pool man, Tom Kepler.
I suppose that's true. So everybody's getting the secret history of my life if they're listening to this. If you listen...
Everybody knows you were a pool man because everybody keeps saying, hey, will you come fix my pool, even though you're retired?
That's why I say I'm retired. Work out your own residential chemistry. I don't want to hear this anymore. I did some plumbing last week, though, and I was kind of proud. Straight cuts all the way through, you know.
Used a lot of glue, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so thank you. Now everybody knows who to ask when their pool is murky in a couple weeks.
Sure, when your pool's not working out, call Tom Kepler. Anyway, why don't you go ahead and tell us who we're talking to today?
Well, hold on. I wanted you to mention one other person because we have another host here. So who's sitting to your left?
See, I was going to leave this as kind of so now I gotta let the cat out of the bag. You can't shove the cat back in the bag once it's out. It doesn't work that way. So here we go. Corinne is sitting in with us today because we're going to learn some stuff about her. Now, you know a lot about Tom, and you learn some stuff about me, probably more than you'll ever need to know. But today, you're going to learn some metaphysical stuff about Corinne. So now the cat is half out of the bag. Why don't you finish pulling it out?
All right. If you've ever heard of an old show on the channel, Psychic Sushi, or the brand new and improved, and we're happy to have you back, the Fairy Godmothers Pod of Wisdom and Knowledge, we have Reverend Cynthia and Reverend Elizabeth Howell.
Hi, I'm Reverend Elizabeth Howell. Thanks for having me on. And
I'm Reverend Cynthia. Excited to be here. Let everybody know just how crackpots we are.
So I'll state this again, because if people didn't watch the pilot episode, they might need. One is the Fairy of Wisdom and Knowledge, and one is Fairy of Snark. So.
The fairy godmother of Snark. Snark and mayhem.
And that's you, Reverend Cynthia.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
With the bright green hair.
Oh, absolutely.
And a fresh perm on Reverend Elizabeth. So.
fresh perm, yeah.
We're all about the hair.
Yep. I'm not. That's why I look like a human dandelion. So
I would have said a sunflower.
Oh, well, lovely. Thank you.
I'd say a scared cactus.
A cat that just got pulled out of a bag. I don't know.
Yeah, all the way out now and running around the room.
Yeah. So, Elizabeth, why don't you tell us the premise for your podcast?
Well, I'm going to digress and say, I had the Psychic Sushi Show, which was a television show based here, and you guys were on helping me make this happen. It was an hour show, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun. But COVID happened, and life happened, and so it kind of got out of the groove, and then podcasting popped in. And so you guys have this wonderful studio here. And I was like, yeah, I want to do it. It's time to do a podcast. Well, of course, Reverend Cynthia was my producer for the Psychic Sushi Show. And I was like, no, we're going to get you from behind the camera. We're going to put you right next to me and have to do a little bit more work.
Yeah, not letting me hide in the shadows anymore. Jeez.
But the way it's produced, it's probably less work for you.
It is. And of course, being able to do like a type 30, having that definite, it helps, editing is much less. Most of our pods, we can just let it ride.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I'm proud of here. The shows can be as elaborate or as simple or overproduced or perfectly produced in your case, I would like to say.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
I hear a sucking sound.
Yeah, well, Ben said thank you. He runs the control room for us, so he's taking some of that credit.
Well, thank you.
And it's great to be back because you guys are wonderful, you guys are wonderful. And it's really it's just joyful to do this. I, had choices in front of me to either do a podcast out of my house or, and at that point I was like, no, it's not. I'd rather come in, all the equipment is here, everything's ready to go, and I can just concentrate on content. And that's been a really godsend. So
the expense of decent equipment would make a lot of it just prohibitive.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. I have a colleague of mine. She's hypnotist, and she does her own podcast. And I think she told me she's got 7,000 to 10,000. I'm not going to say what you guys have, but that she had, and she's still having to buy more equipment. And I'm like, you know what? Not my problem.
Ben and Tom are looking better and better.
Yep. So here we are, and we've been in, or would we do our 11th podcast or 12th?
Oh gosh, I've lost track.
Yeah, we just, and we love the half-hour format. So
Yeah.
it's lots of fun, and it goes fast.
It does.
And there's no time in between. How do I put this? Like, this doesn't get boring. Just it goes on. Boom, boom, boom. I like that.
Awesome. So I'll ask the same question to both of you, but Cynthia, what got you interested in this realm of the metaphysical or the topics that you cover on the podcast?
Well, my introduction to the metaphysical world was, probably back in the 80s when I was getting readings from Elizabeth, and then I took some classes through what used to be the Purple Lotus. A lot of, older people might remember the Purple Lotus.
Yeah.
It's a church now, which I find is just absolutely hysterical.
A Russian Baptist church. Not that I'm against any of that.
No,
it's okay, but
no,
I'm just...
it was just funny for that property to kind of like flip from the metaphysical to a Baptist kind of church. I just
irony.
find it hysterical.
Yeah, the irony.
But
Anyway,
There's probably energy there then. If
oh,
it's-
absolutely.
if everyone's being drawn there.
Somebody was telling me, maybe it was Elizabeth, about going through the yard and throwing little tiny quartz crystals in the yard.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Geez, I remember the Purple Lotus when it was closer to Brunswick, and it was off in the woods.
It was
and
in
you used to go to the lady's house, and
Sylvia
then
Woodmedick's basement of her house.
yeah, and that was my first introduction to the Purple Lotus, and then of course years later they moved down towards Medina, and then now it's the church.
She just was down the street a little bit. She went from Brunswick Hills to Medina Township. She had to go down the street a little bit. Long story short, but she was a hoot. If everybody remembers,
I only met her one time, and that's when there was a drum that I wanted to get my grubby little mitts on. And it was up like in a display area, and I asked if it was for sale. And they said no, but Sylvia happened to be in the store at that time. And she says she, consented to let me have it, let me buy it. So,
yeah. And God rest her soul, she passed about 2 months ago. And, it was kind of an end of an era at that point, yeah. But you came wandering in looking for getting a psychic reading.
Yeah, I did.
And then I forced you into taking classes.
You did. You strong-armed me.
Just
to get that $25 out of me.
Oh.
I don't even think it was that much. But,
I think in those days it was only like 12 or 15.
Yeah, $12 sounds about right.
with inflation, it'd be like 25 now, right? So
Probably,
30,
yeah.
maybe 30.
Probably, yeah.
But you were curious. You wanted to learn, and
I
so
was, and I'd been at that point in time. I'd been having some nature things happening, like the one deer that I did a lot of driving, and I ended up hitting 5 deer. And I was like, there should be a message for me here in this somehow or other. And it's like my husband was told his buddies at work because they were mad because that year they nobody was going out hunting and catching their deer or killing their deer or whatever. And my husband just told them, loan my wife your car. She'll get you a deer.
Yes, I
She'll bring it back with one on the hood.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
But just strap it down over the hood and go on home.
That's very interesting. So the timeline is probably different if you helped introduce Cynthia, but how did you get involved with this realm?
Well, I mean, okay, I will give you the long answer. So when I was 3 years old, I had an actual near-death experience, like 3.5. I'm severely allergic to penicillin and sulfa.
Oh.
And I was given an adult dosage shot of penicillin and sulfa. So I went into not even anaphylactic shock. I went into like a high fever, just like 106. And by the time they got me to the emergency room, the hospital, they immersed me in some cold liquid. It wasn't water, but it was something cold to try to bring that fever down because it wasn't working at home. My mom had me in the bathtub with ice cubes and it wasn't doing anything. So anyway, When they did that, my heart stopped. And I had an actual, what they call, the classic near-death experience. I found myself out of my body. I remember as a child, I was looking down. I could see the doctors and the nurses working on me, and I saw a tunnel with a light at the end of it. Went down that tunnel. I won't go into details, but, went on to the other side and made a decision. I was given the choice either to stay or come back, and I chose to come back. Got back into my body.
It was a hard choice, though. You were really tempted to stay.
It really was. I mean, it was a beautiful place. And so, but I came back. And after I came out, I was in a coma for about 3 or 4 days. They had an induced coma on me. When I came out of that, I could see things differently. I could see colors around people. I could see spirits, ghosts. I could also see angels. I could see fairies. I could see all kinds of things. And at 3.5, that was just an overactive imagination. But I was also very correct about a lot of things. I knew when the phone was going to ring and who was on the other end. And my parents, I had my imaginary friend, the old lady that died down the street. Her and I would have tea and crumpets or whatever. We would
at least you had somebody to have tea with.
Right. I was an interesting child, and of course my father being a scientific person, he was a engineer and he was working the space program. He was like, okay, well, there's something going on here. So we were also fortunate I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, of course, Notre Dame, yay. But they had a parapsychology department at Notre Dame University, and my dad knew about it. So he said, I'm taking her in, I'm going to have her tested. We're just going to see what's going on, right? And so I did the testing that they did, and it was, long and short, it was called the Zener cards, and it was hitting a box with a button. And they had somebody on the other side of a door, and I was in a enclosed space, like kind of a closet more or less. But
okay.
I hit 99 out of 100.
Wow.
And they said, yeah, she's psychic. Go home. Don't worry about her. So I had to learn to shut it off. And of course, at that point, my dad was like, okay, we're going to move to a farm. So we bought a farm. We moved out in the country because he felt it would be better if I had animals and chores to do that would keep me grounded. So lo and behold, I knew, I could see things, I could feel things, but I had to shut it down because thanks to the school system currently or in the past, you can't talk about those things. So I was one of those unusual people, but I was really a lot of fun because I get invited to every slumber party because I could make lights blow up and bring in spirits.
Wow.
So that was a lot of fun. So if you want to do the whole table wrapping, I did that when I was 7, 8 years old. I shouldn't have been doing that at all. That was very no. But anyway.
Yeah, all those party games that people used to play and do all those things, you were actually able to make them a reality as opposed to people just goofing around.
Right. Yeah, we did. It was really that. So I was popular with that because of that. I'm also scared the bejesus out of everybody and myself.
I can imagine.
But
a lot of power in there.
So that's how I got started, and I didn't know what it was, and I shut it down. Then I got older. I got about 18, 19 years old, and I went to a psychic fair. I said, I want to do this. I want to go to a psychic fair. I walked in, and there was all these people doing exactly what I did, what I knew to do, and I was like, what? People do this? They know about this? Oh my gosh. And I got a reading from a lady who still reads. Her name is Pat Beers. And
I love Pat.
And she looked at me, I sat down, she looked at me, she goes, oh honey, you're gonna be here. You should be reading. Like that was the first thing she said to me. I thought, well, she's just trying to make me be nice, And then later, I started reading, I jumped into the deep end of the pool real quick. So but I have trained. I have taken classes and workshops to continue. I think you don't know everything, and the more you learn, the more you realize I don't know a lot at all. So
it's a subject where there's just so much information you can't really take it all in.
Right, because it's all interconnected, and I think spirituality and metaphysics are interconnected. And so when you learn one thing over here, there's about 10 other things that go with that. And I think that I've spent my life searching and reading and, going to lectures, going to teachers, going to workshops, and I don't stop. I still keep doing it. Keep learning, because you never stop learning. You never do.
No, I'm a firm believer. You stop learning, you die. And it's like,
well, that is kind of, yeah, maybe. or do you die and then stop learning?
no, I don't know. Okay, maybe they're intertwined somehow. Depends on how you want to phrase it.
It's made for an interesting life because, people go like, what is it like? I'm married, I have children, all of that. My kids they laugh because they're like, yeah, my mom's that psychic. I stay grounded, and it's important to do. And now it's now, I wouldn't say it's a fad, but because of COVID, I think a lot of people got locked in their homes and then got online and decided they were going to take classes, or they're going to, get online and blog and whatever else they do, TikToking and, having their own podcasts. I read a book, so I'm going to have a podcast because I know everything.
I've got a package of cards off of Amazon.
Yeah. But they, and I think it's great, though, because I believe that these people who are interested, the door's opening. Let's learn. And
I was about to say, is that the gateway to understanding then?
It is.
Okay.
And so that's why we're doing the podcast, because we want to help guide people with also grounded, no unicorn farts, no fairy,
no fairy dust, no unicorn farts. We want the real deal.
It's the real deal, and it's also grounded based on some facts.
But we still like to get out there. I mean, we do cryptids, and so we try to go in a lot of different directions.
Yeah.
We don't want to have just like one single dog that we're flogging over and over and over again. We wanted a whole herd of dogs.
Yeah, correct. But
I imagine being grounded could probably be challenging at times, especially going through that as a child and not understanding like what exactly you said turn off. What exactly are you turning off? How do you do that? Like, is it voluntary?
The psychic gift is something that if you walk around wide open, you can easily get just overwhelmed by what is beyond our regular sight, sound. So psychic is really the five senses extended.
Okay.
And there are other dimensions. The human brain and the human eyes can only see a portion of what exists. Mm-hmm. And, when I tell people there's actually 27 different dimensions, people are like, what? But there are. And you can't see them all. But when I say I turn it off, I learn to kind of shut that off, close that door, so I'm not overwhelmed. So I can go shopping and not like pick up everybody's energy and go home and start crying because too much energy.
It happens. Sometimes if it's overwhelming, even having yourself shielded, stuff still gets through.
Yeah.
I remember when there was those 4 kids that got killed in that car accident.
Oh yeah.
And they did the funeral for all 4 of them in one place. And I was driving by, and I was just like, sitting in my car, I wanted to burst into tears. And I'm like, what the heck in the world's going on? And then the next day I found out that where I was where that funeral was going on. So there was a lot of energy there that it affected me out on the street.
And then to add, we went out to eat, and some people came in with the T-shirts of the kids.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah.
You've been reading the family of one of those kids.
Yeah. I can't go into details, but it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
It does get overwhelming because you do. I've read tens of thousands of people. I used to also read as a Kenny Kingston's Psychic Hotline when I first started reading, because it was a way for me to stay at home with my kids and earn some money. So I was the lady that answered the phone from 10 p.m. to about 2 a.m. The people call.
Sure.
Shades of Miss Cleo.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it was like, there was 5 different psychic lines I worked for, but it was like, I read thousands and thousands of people over the phone, and it was like,
Now, is it that the kind of thing I would have to be around you, or can you actually do that over the phone?
Yeah, I can do it over the phone.
I often wondered that.
I can do it over the phone, pick up your vibration, remote viewing. I also specialize with remote viewing. That's a whole nother thing. Remote viewing.
But still, she loses her keys.
So you talk about doing readings, and you also talk about having psychic ability. Now, are those inclusive? Now, do you have to have psychic abilities to do readings, or can you do readings if you do not?
You have to be psychic. I mean, and everyone, or let's put it this way, everyone is intuitive. Everyone, if you're a human and you're breathing, you're intuitive. It's just, do you trust it or are you listening to it? I think to me, I said everyone's given intuition, and it's kind of like everyone's given the same muscles, but not everyone is Arnold Schwarzenegger. You don't work out 6 hours a day and work on building those muscles. As an intuitive, you work on building those abilities. You work on it. It's something that doesn't just happen. I did have the gift, but I had to work on it. So everyone is intuitive, and yes, to do readings, you should be intuitive. I know that. How do I put this? We also use as a medium. I'm also a medium. I'm a clairvoyant medium, and that means I get pictures and I see those that have crossed over. People that are on the other side. I also connect with spirit guides, guardian angels, fairies, trees, animals. But as an intuitive medium, I see people that have crossed over that are with someone. So I see when I open up, I see that a picture of that person, and we use it. What I call it is evidential mediumship, and it's evidential readings. In other words, I'll read someone cold. I don't know you. But I'll tell you things that no one else knows. Do you see? I'm not going to scare you, but I'm going to pick up things, and so it's giving you evidence that there is that connection going on, and so it is real.
So you're saying like most people would be able to do this if they can get in touch with their psychic side. So it's not like, speaking two different languages like English and French. You can actually do this if you can get in touch with that.
Correct. And I teach people to do that. So
our culture, unfortunately, teaches us from a very young age to close it all down.
Yes.
And so it's hard to open that back up again.
So you think, is it true that children probably have more in touch with
Absolutely.
that than adults, because we kind of just look away from it and try not to let it to have an influence on our life?
Correct. Because children, when they are born, their crown chakra, which is, when we talked about chakras and all that stuff, but the crown chakra is wide open. They just came onto the planet. So they're innocent, they're pure, and they're also very much still in touch with their spiritual self. And so children can see things, and I've had parents come in and go, "Oh, my kid's seeing my dad, my father passed over and he's talking to him in the crib." I'm like, "Yep, that'll happen." And later the kid grows up and is like, "I don't remember a thing." But they are wide open. Children are, because they are in touch with their own intuition, very, very much so. And but as we get older, people make fun of you, or they like, "Oh no, that's not, that's
we
weird,"
don't do imaginary friends in this house.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's certainly a stigma to that type of thing. But would you say that many imaginary friends are some kind of person who's passed? Would you say like the percentage of that? Or I know kids have great imaginations as well, and they do come up with things like that, but
I want to say 70%, especially if the house is haunted.
Yeah, well, depending on the situation, the environment. Yeah. I was thinking probably like 50-50.
Yeah. Could be. I maybe it could be 50-50, but there's so much that goes on the other side, and kids can see that. I mean, they really do when they're young and open. And we tell people, take it serious. If your child says, there's somebody in the room, take it serious.
Yeah. And look into it, if they have a name, we've got the internet and, search engines, put the name in and see if something comes up. You could be really surprised.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'll ask another question that I want your personal opinion of. I'm pretty clueless when it comes to all of this. So is that reason to kind of think that I dislike this idea? Or do you look down on, or is there any reason to be stigmatized? Because like, I don't understand it, so I might say something like, yeah, some of this might be hooey. Like, you know, is that...
Well, you've got good company. There's a lot of people like you out there, and some that are just flat out mean about what we do, and we're going to Hades in a handbasket. Oh, we got some stories about that too.
I think ignorance is, you're coming from I hate to say it, you're coming from an ignorant aspect. So you choose not to educate yourself on what's going on. So that's okay. I'm not looking down on it, but I also know that, if you read a little bit, you would understand, and then you might be like, oh, okay, I think I know what that is. So I often start out with people going, here's some books.
Okay.
Or go watch this podcast or this movie or something like that. Go watch Ghost.
Are you willing to learn?
Yeah, and are you willing to be open? Because, we go through our lives at a certain point where we stop growing and we stop interfacing new knowledge into our belief systems. We become very rigid. And so that happens to a degree, more so with men, believe it or not. But...
Well, I can believe it, sure.
Well, what we accept in our culture that women are more in touch with the emotions and the intuition, where the man is just, a beefcake that goes out hunting with the spear. It's like that's not the way it's supposed to be. Somehow or other, this became our norm. And so, we have some men in the field that are excellent readers, but they're definitely the minority.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was just curious from that standpoint, because it's not that, to flip it back on myself, I might say something like, I wonder if that's real. But that's not me criticizing or judging, because I don't understand.
Well, if you have a reader that is correct 25% of the time, that's really an excellent reader.
Okay.
Because, we miss, but when we hit hard.
Okay, it stands out.
I like that. Well, also, again, we come, and was very hard for everyone. We are programmed by our parents, ages 0 through 5. And that programming comes from their programming. And it's like buying a computer that's preloaded with, Windows, 11 or whatever. All of a sudden, things happen, extraordinary things happen in your life, something that you can't explain. Seeing a ghost or, seeing a UFO or whatever, and you can't explain it. It's not, wait a second, and that's outside your hard drive. It's outside what's been imprinted on you. So your first thing you're going to do is deny, right? Because it's like, wait, that's not in my programming to believe or to see that, just what I just saw. So it really coming down to people need to open up and kind of move away from some of that programming to realize the way the human brain works is we will believe our human brain has to be right about something all the time until we get new information. And then once we get the new information, we can then formulate a new idea or concept about something. So that being said, are all UFOs real when we see something online or something? No. But if you were standing in a field and you saw a UFO, that's going to give you new information about, okay, maybe we're not alone here.
Yeah, something's going on.
Yeah, something is going on. And you may or may not get a picture. But so it is a matter of some people, sometimes it's very hard for people to move from that one concept to a new one and have new information.
Because like you said, we kind of shut down that part of our learning experience so that, even if there is an experience, sometimes we don't want to integrate it.
Right. Absolutely. And when I was working at the Purple Lotus as a reader, and people would come in from Brunswick and Medina, and this was before really the internet was big. This shows my age. People would come down and go, hey, you're that psychic lady, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they go, well, I had this really weird thing happen, and I just want to know what that's about. I'm like, okay. well, just tell me what happened, and they explained it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was real. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think we shared one time there was a gentleman that would come down. He would come on a regular basis. He was being followed by black helicopters. He lived just north of Brunswick, like Brunswick-Strongsville area, Columbia Station, I think. And I was like, black helicopters. He's like, yeah. He goes, and UFOs land in my backyard. He shows me pictures of these big white blobs, right? I'm like, now that's something. And as he was done talking to me about it, this was the second trip he came down to talk to me about it. We both walked outside of the Purple Lotus, and I looked up, and there was a black helicopter just like hovering right above us. Like, I'm not talking, like, had to be under 20 feet. It was that close, and it made no sound.
Wow.
And I could see the pilots. I could see the people in that. Like, I could see their faces. And he's looked at me and goes, see? And I'm like, holy cats. And then it, went off, and he goes, yep. He goes, they follow me everywhere. Now, I wouldn't have believed in a helicopter that could make no noise, let alone a black one, let alone following people, but I believe now.
Yeah.
I've had people all the time, like all over Brunswick would come in. Oh, the haunted cabin that had a demon in it, that was like scary. There's this, everybody who ever rented this place, this little house that was just down on 42, they would be attacked, like literally attacked. This one girl came in, she was so frightened, she had scratches all over her. And I was like, burn it down. Just burn it down. Just get rid of it. Don't go back. Don't,
Okay.
Like,
Good advice.
I'm like, I believe in that sometimes. It's just like, sometimes it's just way over everyone's head. Just, burn it down.
Now, what you said a little bit ago about being educated about something, I always tell people in my experience that, you may not end up changing your total belief system because you're educated on it, but at least know about a topic before you start talking bad about it. I mean, that works with any topic whatsoever. So that's a really good way to express how people should feel about mediums and people who have abilities to do this type of reading and all kinds of other things. And I know we were going to talk to Corinne here about doing a reading, and I think that's probably a good segue into it. Corinne Kirk, who works with us here. Hi, Corinne. How are you?
Hello. Sorry, I haven't said anything at all yet. So.
Well, you're so captivated by these two ladies and their stories. I mean, how could you not be? I mean, Tom and I are sitting here, mouths agape with you. So we're all sitting here going, wow, this is really good stuff. And many of these stories I've heard because, we've been long time cohorts in this facility, so we've been hanging out for a long time. So
I'm learning a lot too, though.
So I mean, and you guys even had somebody cancel one time, and you did my reading to fill time. So I don't know how stimulating that was for the people at home, but hey, it was time filler for them. So I found out some things, but I'll let you go ahead and work with Corinne there and do what you do best.
All right. Well, Corinne, I do kind of everything at one time. So what I'd like you to do first is I've taken the card that represents you, and I just need you to shuffle the deck and just shuffle until you felt like you put your energy into the deck. I use the tarot deck to give me a time frame. And, and people are like, oh, this is the one that we talked about, like, people say, oh, well,
I'm really bad at shuffling.
Oh,
sorry.
don't worry. Just shuffling.
They can't see you, so you could be an ace at it. They wouldn't know. Look at her go.
We're a firm believer the cards will find where they need to be.
Yeah. But the tarot deck is only, as we know it, was actually finalized. The final information on the tarot deck was actually, 1830 something. So it's, it's when people didn't use tarot decks 2,000 years ago, okay? So just so you know, it's kind of pretty modern.
No, 2,000 years ago, they were still casting bones and sticks.
And a type of card. Okay, cut the deck once that way. So, but I like to use it for time frames to get people, places, and ideas. So, Corinne, okay, so you're a Taurus.
Yes, I am.
And I just kind of pick up with you. Right now it's about home location. I think you're really kind of focusing on your own place or a place. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. I also feel there is a friendship. Do you have someone?
I have many friendships. So.
Oh, I meant like as a special person.
Oh, yes.
A significant other.
Yes, I have a husband.
You have a husband. Thank you. I felt like you started out as friends. And
We
moved slow.
It was weirdly kind of fast, but we met in high school, so we were in the same vicinity for a very long time.
Okay, because that's what I was picking up. I kind of felt like we kind of like had this, not slow burn, but definitely, we had this acquaintanceship and, similar interests and things like that. So the first thing I pick up is that you're really on the fence making a decision. There's something in front of you have to make a decision about. So, but you're kind of going, I'm just going to ignore it for a little bit longer because I just don't want to make this decision. You have a lot of stress in your life right now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's just finding balance is the stress, but I feel like you're very much also a perfectionist to some degree in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Ben and Tom know that.
Okay. Because I really feel like
We just had that conversation yesterday, so.
Because you're like, if I don't do this perfect, I don't do it right, you always feel like I'm, double checking, rechecking. Tauruses do have a difficult time sometimes delegating. They kind of go like, I'll do it. I want it done right. I'll do it. I just leave me alone. I'll stay till 8 o'clock and I'll get it done. Right. So what sign is your husband?
Scorpio.
Okay. He is your astrological opposite. How's that working for you? It's good,
Really
right?
well,
She's
yeah.
like, we're
I
together.
didn't realize it was the opposite, but I've always said that he is the opposite.
Well, there's two theories that go with that astrological opposite stuff, because some astrologers will go like, oh no, rock'em sock'em robots, just meet in the middle and pound it out. The other one is they complete each other. So you may be in that aspect where you're completing each other. You feel he's the other half that we complete ourselves, right? So here we're making some decisions, career. So are you thinking about like a new tangent, a new job, a new position?
Well, this is new.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 7 months already, which doesn't feel like that. I feel like I'm still new.
Uh-huh. Well, the reason I ask that is because with the Fool card, there may be an opportunity. You may be wanting to go, like you also may want a side business or a tangent or be doing something like my own thing. You may be not necessarily leaving here because there's no Tower card like I'm quitting, I'm out of here.
Yeah, they're staring you down.
I was going to say, are we learning something we didn't know?
What do we need to do?
Serious side eye going on here.
Are interruptions welcome?
Yes,
If I-
absolutely.
Sorry.
You're doing side marketing.
I am. Yeah,
Okay.
I also helping my dad now. Just recently, I'm helping him with new things as well, which
So-
leads me to have a lot of things to do.
Well, that's part of that. It won't be whatever your dad's asking you to do, though. This is stretching your talents. It's making you do some things that pushing yourself outside the box. But it's a good push, right? And it's also gaining. You're gaining. You're planning to go on a trip. I do feel like within either 6 weeks or 6 months, you may be going like by water, going someplace nice, a relaxation. Does that make sense?
I mean, I just got back from a really long trip. Not long, but I just got back from a trip.
Okay.
But not anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah, maybe taking another one. Is there a child?
No,
Okay. Thinking about a child?
probably.
Okay. Because I don't really see like a pregnancy right now, which I wouldn't want to scare you. But I do pick up that within the next like 6 to 8 months, we might be making a decision. And it's all about timing. Does that make sense? Like you're wanting to plan in time. It isn't just like if it happens, it happens, right? You're kind of going like, on Friday the 16th, or what, at 11 a.m., I think we're going to make a baby, or something like that. I'm not being personal that way. But you should.
Well, I don't know. I'm a planner because I'm like, well, I don't want it to be July because I don't like the ruby.
That's what I'm thinking.
And so pick it based on the gemstone.
That's so cute. Oh my gosh. But I'm just gonna look at your chart really quick too, because I don't think you have any specific questions. You might. Okay. Okay. What time of the day were you born? Early or late?
Middle.
Okay. So your moon's in Cancer. Do you cry easy?
I always thought my moon was in Gemini, but yeah, I cry really easy.
Well, it's void of course if you were in the afternoon. So it could be Gemini or it could be Cancer, one or the other. Well, the question is, do you cry easy?
Yes.
Okay, it's Cancer. Mercury and Taurus are stubborn. And your natal Venus is in Cancer. So you really are caring and nurturing. And you do kind of take people on as projects sometimes. I want to help this person. I want to care for them, right? And you're very family first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, with that Venus in Cancer. I would be surprised, or not too surprised, but I mean, you like also doing things at home. I get this projects at home, make things decorate and paint and you all do that. I'm just trying to figure out why.
She's shaking.
sorry, yes.
She's shaking her head for those that are listening.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's Mars and Libra. So yeah, career is definitely the big one. So the eclipse is in Aries and Libra past 2 years. Definitely hitting you in the natal Mars, which is energy, work. That's probably why you're getting some things piled on. And you are a pleaser. You want everybody to be happy. You don't like confrontation. In fact, you go hide under the bed if there's anything confrontational. Yeah?
I don't mind it, but I would rather not. I can do it.
Yeah, and you want everybody to be happy. You're a good front person. You like to, greet people and work with people, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're a good hostess.
Oh,
You like to have parties or have people over, don't you? Yeah.
That's why I want a house.
Aha. So you just bought it?
No, I'm looking.
You're getting a house. Okay, thank you. You're going to get one this year.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Yeah. I think within the next someone's helping you though. Is that dad or father-in-law
Yeah.
to help you guys get this house?
There's help from around
Okay.
all ends.
Okay. All right, cuz I feel like there's a male who might step up to the plate and kind of help out with either down payments or help you find it or something like that. Does that make sense? Mhm. Yeah, did that help you out?
Yes.
You're going to get that house.
Well, that's good.
I think it's timing, though. I think really, where we're at right now, timing is everything, right? Oy, oy, oy. But I think it's coming. I really do. And, you guys are happy. Are you not? You've been married for a few years?
Really recently, but we've been together 10 years. So we actually got
okay.
married this past July. But we've been together for a total of 10 years.
Okay, because I felt like you had been together for a while. If you made it past that, if you've been together with a Scorpio that long, yeah, you'll be married forever. Because, as long as he doesn't, he probably, you probably give in and make up with him more than he does you. Or is it the opposite?
It's the opposite.
Okay. I would say he'd have to. One of you has got to give, if that makes any sense. And I'm trying to figure out if there's... Your mom and dad are living, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And mom's mom is living?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why are we concerned about her?
Oh, yeah, we talk about her all the time.
Okay.
Yes, we've learned a lot about Corinne's grandmother.
Do you go over and help her, or
Yeah. Well,
her husband passed?
Yes.
Thank you.
No, they were divorced for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's fine. But
Okay.
he's fine.
Because I didn't see anybody around her. So okay.
No. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
She
we've
had
been
surgery?
Yeah, she had a fall. That's one of the reasons why I moved from New York to here, and that's kind of how I found this job and this area in specific, was to be closer to family.
Good. I think it's a good thing. I'm being told yes. And I don't know, I felt like surgery. That's why I was picking that up. I thought, what the heck is going on? But I think she's okay.
Yeah, she's doing fine. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we did have to clean her house. She had really bad ant infestation.
Oh my.
So, yeah, me and my brothers and my mom all went and deep cleaned her house. But other than that, she's doing good. Yeah. But she stays in contact with all of us.
Well, it's nice that you have strong family connections.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting told though. She's kind of waiting. I think how many great grandkids does she have?
She has like 23, 24.
Okay, there's a
grandkids.
lot. Right.
She has 7 kids.
Okay. Ooh. Yeah, I felt like I kept hearing grandbabies. I don't feel like so she basically is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say living for her grandchildren, but she just really
I
is
think
very.
my youngest brother, I think about the youngest, but then now the grandbabies are having babies, so.
Okay, got that her focus for some reason. I got that her focus. So anyway, hopefully, did that answer your questions?
Yes.
All right, awesome. She didn't say what her questions were, but there we are.
Well, you knew.
You
You
knew.
knew.
cards knew.
The cards knew. So yeah.
Yeah. So up in New York. Oh my goodness. New York City, or upstate New York?
Upstate New York. Yeah.
Syracuse.
Kind of there. Oneonta area.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I love that area a lot.
Yeah, I have a friend who lives in it's in that area.
I know there's Cooperstown and
The big
there's
reveal.
Albany.
It is a
that
really big area.
place.
Yeah.
You know, somewhere not here.
Oh god, I want to say Fleshman's,
I don't know.
Catskills. Like she's kind of more like Catskills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's UFOs there, for sure.
Is there really some place that there aren't any UFOs?
You know, and that's funny because I don't know.
We had long discussions with an individual that's sort of was local. I don't know if he still is or not. Who claims that the UFOs go in and out of Lake Erie?
And we did an interview. That was the mysterious interview that never took place, but it did take place for Psychic Sushi. He said, when we put in, how many cards did we go through? For the cameras. And he said,
SD cards.
SD card. He said that it's
probably 2 or 3.
He said if they want you to see him or hear about this, you get the interview. And if not, we went through 2 cards, had all that data on them, got back here, blank.
Yeah.
And we looked, and when she had the camera out and we had him, he called in the UFO. It was there over Lake Erie. We looked, you could see it. You look in the camera, you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Like
It was
the
weird.
weirdest thing. And yeah, I said, so much for our UFO interview.
Yeah.
That was gone.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting around and you're listening to this right now and you want to catch these two do more, then you should definitely check out the show. I'm going to give everybody the times that it's listening so that they can have them as well. So the Fairy Godmothers Pod of Wisdom and Knowledge airs on the channel on Fridays at 5:30 a.m., Saturdays at 2:30 a.m., 2:30 p.m., and Sundays at 9:30 p.m. And I'll give you that once again. It's Fridays at 10:30 a.m., Saturdays at 2:30 a.m., and 2:30 p.m. and Sundays at 9:30 p.m. And of course, if you live here in Brunswick or you live in Florida or you live anywhere or even in Canada.
It's not New Brunswick, Canada, I was going to say.
Not New Brunswick, Canada. Well, you can live anywhere. Anywhere. You can watch it at bat.vibit.com. Of course, these ladies have a YouTube channel as well as your Facebook page. You want to tell people about how they can contact you or watch you or even find out about your upcoming events that you have out in the community.
Yeah.
Well, we both have Facebook pages, and then there's also one. We have a Facebook page for the Fairy Godmothers Pod of Wisdom and Knowledge. We try to, keep everybody up to date on what's going on through at least the Fairy Godmothers Facebook page.
And then you have a website.
I do. I have animalreflector.com under WordPress.
And I'm just Reverend Elizabeth Howell. And I don't know if it's WordPress because you handle it.
Yeah. Mine is under WordPress because it's getting a little technical here. It's a subdomain because I don't pay for that space. You pay for that space, so it's
Oh boy,
it's a little different.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But you can just find me elizabethhowell.com, and on it sometimes we update things, sometimes we don't. We try.
You'll
have to check it out.
We're very trying sometimes.
We are very trying. And I have 2 Facebook pages. Some people get confused, but Facebook did that to me. I had to have a business page. So I have a business page and then I have like a personal page. And they kind of somehow now just kind of intermix. I have no idea.
Well, yeah. You are technologically challenged.
Oh, am I?
On the best of days, you are technologically challenged.
And I kill electronics.
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm. It's not the psychic. I mean, no, really, literally, it's the psychic energy. I mean, I do not go too well with electronics. I kill things. And I don't mean to, really. I want to be friends with my computers. I do. I put crystals on them.
That might be part of the problem.
Oh,
Is you're giving them a
Randy.
little bit too much energy.
I just want to put selenite to get all that negative energy out there. Oh my gosh! But yeah. So we're out and about. We are out and about.
We do you well. I work at your psychic fairs, and we try to keep those also on the website her website and our Facebook pages. We try to promote that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you talk about them on the show. You let people know when they're coming up on the Fairy Godmothers pod, so you guys get that information out there as well.
Yeah, and we do well at the VFW. That's a great place. It's a great place.
Is that weekly that you're up there?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah, once a month. And then, but yeah, those guys are great. They treat us really well. I know
Is
they
it
have
like
a show
the
now.
fourth Saturdays, or I mean, is it like a regularly occurring event, or is it just once a month sometime?
Once a month, sometime.
On a Sunday.
Okay.
Sometime on a Sunday.
Sometime on a Sunday.
Okay, so you're very active in the community, and I know you like public input. So if somebody has a topic suggestion and
Has a question, wants a reading.
yeah, of course. The show you recorded today, you had a call-in guest, so people don't even have to be in the area or be able to attend during regular business hours to reach out and get involved. I think that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and again, we're hoping we can spend this upcoming years educating and sharing these things that if people are curious about, and but not, we don't go the spooky stuff. We don't go the scary stuff. Like some people like dark. We don't do dark.
No.
We do light,
we don't do
love.
unicorn farts, but we don't do evil darkness either. Well, unfortunately, in the field, there are some people that are in it for how it looks rather than for the content of what you can provide to people.
Good point. Yeah.
Shock value.
Yeah.
Now, I'll just flat out ask this. The dark side of it, what you see or hear, probably is a reason that I don't want to learn more.
Fear.
or the reason to this point I haven't learned as much.
Well, I always tell people, fear is false evidence appearing real. But there's not, with everything there is, humans are dark and light. Humans naturally have a dark side. So like everything in the universe, there's light and dark.
And just because it's dark doesn't necessarily mean that it's evil.
Right.
Okay.
But,
So just as true as anything else, there could be good and bad.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to, as a species, just learn to balance that.
Interesting. I did. You said educate a minute ago, and I have learned a lot through this. Do you have anything else you want to add that maybe I wouldn't think to ask?
When people ask about, the near-death experience with me, it's very ultra-personal. It's very hard for me to talk about that now. It's taken me years to be able to speak to people about really what that is about. But I will say this, because I had that experience, because I did die, I knew that there was more than just what we have here. I knew that there was another place, there's another dimension, there's energies that we don't even understand. There is a higher power, I know that. And I also know that people exist past what we call the change called death. We know that humans continue, our essence continues, our light, our energy continues. I know that. It's not, I read it somewhere. It's that I know it. It's a difference. And a lot of people go, well, you're just talking but I know it.
Well, even in science, physics, one of the first rules that you learn in physics is energy cannot be destroyed. It can be transferred into something else, another form of energy, but it can't be destroyed. And who we are is a type of energy.
Yeah. And I think that that's for me, just it's a knowing, it's a knowledge, it's an experience. You can't explain it. But I had it. So it's different than someone just, gawking around and saying, well, possibly this, possibly that. It's, it was a true experience going through death. And people ask me, well, are you afraid to die? Now I am.
Perspective. It's always perspective.
Well, we have a good thing going right now. I'm not ready to.
But, I've had people want to get into confrontation with me. And I'm like, the thing I say to them is, until you die and come back, don't talk to me. You don't know what you're talking about. So I come from a different perspective, for sure.
If you've ever read about different ones, the story is always eerily the same. And it doesn't matter what country you're from, what your culture's like, what your religion is, it's the same. And to me, that says volumes.
Yeah, and people who wouldn't previously know those stories, who
Yes.
they wouldn't be predisposed to just say something
Right.
similar. So thank you for sharing. I know going through that as a child and sharing it at any time is probably rough. So
Yeah.
thank you. That helps with me understanding some of where you're coming from here.
Yeah. I promise it's all good. when we get on the other side, it's all good. I'm not like Elon Musk, and I believe that I'm multidimensional matrix crap. I don't believe that.
Okay, that's beyond me as well. So
I'm going to say, I don't remember him saying that.
Oh, he says
but-
he's an alien from some dimension, and that he lives.
Oh,
in
I thought he was
that
an
Earth is a
alien from
matrix.
South Africa.
I'm
I'm sorry. We're getting a little political here. Shut my mouth.
the joys of our public channel. You can
you
speak
go.
your mind. Freedom of speech is welcome in this building.
Aw.
So as we wrap up, I'm not going to ask the final question, but I want to give Corinne the opportunity since she's been sitting over there. She's
Patient.
No, I didn't prepare a question. You talked a little bit about like media and things, and you mentioned the movie Ghost or anything like that. Do you have any other recommendations or things that you would recommend to people just learning about it?
Well, it's so funny. They hired me to promote The Frighteners. If anybody remembers that.
That's funny you say that. I'm sorry to interrupt, but my wife and I were just talking about that book over the weekend, and I couldn't remember the name of the book. And I said it was a movie. Michael J. Fox was in it, and I don't remember what it was called. And she finally looked it up and figured it out. And that's just uncanny because I hadn't thought about that movie in a million years. And now, all of a sudden, you said that. I don't know. Believe it or not, that could just be coincidence.
The
but-
movie company hired me to promote that movie in the Northeast Ohio. So I did several radio shows and promoted that movie. I think it's a fear factor aspect. It's definitely, kind of done over the top. But Ghost is another one. Ghost is like there was a medium, spiritualist medium, who did consulting on the ghost. So they really kind of kept to the spiritualist church ideas. I'm trying to think, Ghost Whisperer.
I have seen that.
The Ghost Whisperer. And I like the TV show that's on now called Ghosts.
That is fun.
That is hilarious.
I
and
haven't
that's
seen which one, the American or British version.
both.
I haven't seen the American version, but the British one is very great.
I think that one's better, in my opinion.
I kind of like the British one better too, but I think they wrapped it up and there's no new seasons on that one.
Yeah,
so.
I still have a few episodes to watch for the
And-
British one, because where I was watching it like stopped. Like they didn't provide all the rest. So
The
don't
caveman
spoil.
is what really gets me.
Yep.
I love him.
But and because it's really funny because I went to England and I stayed at my friend's house and she lived in it was called Maidenhead, and she lived in a cottage that used to be part of the King of England's. Anyway, England is so haunted. I got off the plane and I literally fell down on the ground because it was just insane. I was like, I felt like I was walking on bones. So when I watched the British one, I was like, oh gosh, that's what I saw. That was how it was. I was like, you do see a British soldier, you would see a Celtic warrior, you would see a Roman, so you would see all these people, and you was standing around them going. And my friend, I go, is this normal?
Yeah, there's a scene where they're trying to find like a new house after their own near-death experience, and they could not find a house without ghosts in it.
Right, and that's why. And I tell people, watch that, just watch it. It's because that would be a good explanation to how crazy things get for me.
There's a ghost pigeon in there too. I'll
Yeah,
add on that.
I saw that.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up the show. This is entertaining and informative. That's the best of both worlds.
That's what we try for. So.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you. For Reverend Cynthia, Reverend Elizabeth, Corinne Kirk, Ben Stoughton, I'm Tom Kepler. Thanks for listening to Meet the Producers. Be sure to check out the Fairy Godmother's Pot of Wisdom and Knowledge because we learned all about the producers today. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Bat Government programs are produced by Corinne Kirk, Tom Kepler, and Ben Staunton. You can find this and other programs as well as a live stream on our on-demand website, bat.vibit.com. Feel free to reach out, offer a suggestion, or get involved. Thanks for tuning in.